soil. Today we are going to discuss about the compaction of soil. It's a very important topic. So first of all, you have to know what is meant by compaction. Compaction is a process by which the soil particles are artificially rearranged and packed together into a closer state of contact by mechanical means in order to decrease the void ratio or porosity of the soil and thus increase the density of the soil. So we can come into detail. So first of all, you have to know what is compaction. Normally, there are two types of soil. Loose soils are there, dense soils are there. So if you are giving a mechanical force over a loose soil, what will happen? Obviously, it will reduce its volume. So this reduction of volume is due to the expulsion of air from the solid particle. You know, in a soil, there are three particles. One is solid, next one is water, and third one is air. So if you are giving a compactive force over this soil, the air will escape from the soil mass. Because of the expulsion of air, it will reduce its volume and increase its dry density. So one more thing it will happen here. That's one I already told you, it will reduce its volume, increase its dry density. Next thing, it will reduce its void ratio and it will reduce its porosity. So these are the things happening in a soil mass due to the compaction. So look at this figure. Left side of the figure is showing the particle arrangement. See this figure. Here the particles are situated far away. If you are giving a certain compactive effort on this type of soil, by the addition of water, it will turn like this structure, which is showing the right side. What is the major difference between these two structures? First, the soil structure is in a random order. Here, the soil structure in a Here the soil structure is well packed. So by the compactive effort, three things are happening. First one, dry density increases, void ratio and porosity decreases. Coming to this slide, this is showing a loose soil on the left side and a compacted soil on the right side. From the figure itself, it's clear that it consists of three particles that I already discussed to you. One is solid, next one is water, and third one is air. By this compactive effort, it will turn into the second figure as shown here, compacted soil. So here, air is escaping. So this is the major thing that happening in a compaction process. Next, compaction and consolidation. I think you may be familiar with the consolidation. You have to study it in the 5th module. But here we can just compare these two, compaction, consolidation. Compaction that I already told you, the compaction is reduction in volume is due to the expulsion of air from the voids. Here the compaction happening due to the expulsion of air. But in consolidation, reduction in volume is occurring. But there the volume reduction is occur due to the expulsion of water. So in the compaction, reduction volume is occur due to the expulsion of air. But in consolidation, the volume reduction is occurring due to the expulsion of water. So next, coming to compaction. Compaction is a rapid process because we are giving mechanical effort to the soil in direct manner. So it is a rapid process and we are giving it in a direct manner. But in consolidation, we are placing certain amount of the soil to the certain amount of the load to the soil for a long time. So here we are applying static load. So depending upon the soil, it may take half month or it may take up to 1 year also. So consolidation is a gradual process. Then coming to compaction, compaction is an artificial process to increase the dry density, but consolidation is a natural process. So these are the major difference between compaction and consolidation. Next, coming to the purpose of compacting soil. Suppose you just think like that. നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു വീട് പണിയാൻ ഒരു പ്ലോട്ട് സെലക്ട് ചെയ്തു. പ്ലോട്ട് വാങ്ങി പർച്ചേസ് എല്ലാം ചെയ്ത് നമ്മുടെ പ്ലോട്ട് നമ്മുടെ കയ്യിലായി. ദെൻ നിങ്ങൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പോവാണ്? അവിടെ ഒരു വീട് കൺസ്ട്രക്ട് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് പോവാണ്. അങ്ങനെ പോകുന്ന സമയത്താണ് നിങ്ങൾ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കുന്നത്, ചെന്ന പ്ലേസ് കണ്ടപ്പോൾ തന്നെ അതെന്താണ്, അതിന്റെ ടോപ്പ് ലെയറും സോയിലും എല്ലാം ലൂസാണ്. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നടക്കുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ മനസ്സിലാവേണ്ടത് ആ ടോപ്പ് ലെയർ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ലൂസ് ആണ്. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരു സ്ഥലത്ത് ഒരു വീടോ എന്തെങ്കിലും കൺസ്ട്രക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്താ സംഭവിക്കുക? ഇഫ് യു ആർ കൺസ്ട്രക്ടിങ് എ സർട്ടൻ building over a loose soil, what will happen? It may collapse or differential settlement will occur. So നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യണം? ആ സോയിലിനെ ഡെൻസിഫൈ ചെയ്യണം, വളരെയധികം ഡെൻസ് ആക്കി കൊടുക്കണം. So here is the importance of compaction. So if you are purchasing or if you are treating a loose soil, you must give proper compaction over that. Then only you can construct a safe structure. Otherwise, if you are constructing a structure on a loose soil, the structure will collapse or it will go for differential settlement. So our ultimate aim is to increase the shear strength. By compaction, we can increase the shear strength of the soil. Next, we can reduce the compressibility. What is meant by compressibility? If it is a loose soil, what will happen? If we are giving a certain force over that, it will compress easily. That means it will settle. So if we are giving a proper compaction over the soil, it will become dense. So you can easily construct any structure over that. So by the compaction, it will reduce the compressibility. Coming to permeability. Compaction will reduce the permeability. So what is meant by permeability? Permeability is the easiness by which water can penetrate through the soil. So in certain region, we need less permeability. You just think about the dam and old structure. Their main problem is by seepage and all. So here the permeability must be low. So by the compaction, the soil will well packed. So the voids will be less. So the permeability also will be less. Next is by the compaction, we can reduce the liquefaction potential. Liquefaction potential will develop during the seismic action. And by the compaction, we can control swelling and shrinkage characteristic, and we can attain prolonged durability too. So compaction is very necessary for our safe construction of soil, road, and any old structures. So we have to determine some variables related to compaction. So here comes to Proctor test. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഈ കോമ്പാക്ഷന്റെ കാര്യങ്ങളും അതിന്റെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽ സ്റ്റഡിക്ക് വേണ്ടി നമ്മൾ ലബോറട്ടറിയിൽ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ടെസ്റ്റ് ആണ് Proctor test. There are two types of Proctor test. One is standard Proctor test. Next one is modified Proctor test. So first of all, this is the mold. This is the mold. Here, sorry. This is the mold. Here, this is consist of three parts. First one is the base plate, the lower portion as the base plate. Above that, a mold is there which having 100 mm diameter and 127.3 mm height. This is the second portion, and above that a collar is there. These are the main part of a Proctor mold. So what we are going to do here, you can see another figure, from that it may clear. Look at here, this is the compaction mold. Right side you can see a compaction mold that I already told. Three parts are there. One is base plate, second one is the mold, and third one is the collar. So this is the rammer. By using this rammer, we are giving the compacting effort. So I already told you there are two types of compaction test. One is standard Proctor test, another one is modified Proctor test. So coming to standard Proctor test, we can discuss just the procedure to conduct the standard Proctor test. This standard Proctor test is also known as light compaction. So another name for standard Proctor test is light compaction. So look at this mold. First of all, you may apply grease over the grease in the inner surface of the mold. നമ്മൾ ഒരു ഈസിനെസ്സിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഉള്ളിൽ ആദ്യം നമ്മൾ എന്ത് പ്രൊവൈഡ് ചെയ്യണം? ഗ്രീസ് പ്രൊവൈഡ് ചെയ്യണം. Then you take 3 kilogram of the soil which pass through 4.75 mm sieve. Take this soil and correct. So you have to give 3 kilo of the soil to a certain mold. After that, add certain amount of water to the mold. So we know there are two types of soil, fine grained soil and coarse grained soil. If it is coarse-grained soil, you have to apply 4%. You have to add 4% of water to the soil. If it is fine grain, you have to start from 8% of water. അപ്പോൾ ആദ്യം തന്നെ നിങ്ങൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യണം? ട്രയല് certain amount of soil എടുക്കണം, 3 kilogram. അതിലോട്ട് വാട്ടർ ആഡ് ചെയ്യണം. After thorough mixing, you have to place 1/3 of the soil to the mold. You have to place 1/3 of the soil to the mold. After that, give proper amount of compaction. Normally, we are giving 25 number of blows by using this ramper from a height of 310 mm. So first of all, you have to fill it by 1/3 of the soil and you have to give 25 number of blows. After that, again fill 1/3 of the soil. Again, you have to give 25 number of blows. And again, you have to fill 1/3 of the soil. As like you have to fill it in a 3 layer. So after that, you just remove this collar from the top portion. Just remove this collar from the top portion and you just take the weight of the soil with the mold. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഈ കോമ്പാക്ഷൻ കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ആ മോൾഡിന്റെ വെയിറ്റ് എടുക്കണം. Then water content എടുക്കണം by using oven. Again, you repeat this procedure. So left side, this left side, you just see we are giving W1, gamma 1. First of all, we are giving 4% of water to 3 kilogram of soil. After the completion of this process, again refill the soil to the tray. Again, add 2 to 3% of water. It may depending upon the soil type. Again, repeat the procedure and take the weight of the soil. Again, follow the steps until the weight reduces. While taking the weight up to a certain limit, the weight will increase. After that, suddenly the weight will decrease. So you have to repeat the procedure up to that point. This is all about standard Porter test. Next, coming to modified Porter test. Modified Porter test is also known as heavy compaction. So here the mold is saying the rammer is different. The rammer having 4.89 kilogram. We are dropping it from a height of 450 mm. So here we are applying more effort to the soil. We are applying more force to the soil. So here we are giving 25 number of blows to each layer. But here we are giving 5 layers. നമ്മൾ മുമ്പ് നോക്കിയപ്പോൾ ലൈറ്റ് കോമ്പാക്ഷനിൽ എങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു? 3 layer 25 blows ആയിരുന്നു. ഹെവി കോമ്പാക്ഷനിൽ 5 layer 25 blows ആണ് കൊടുക്കുന്നത്. So the major difference between light compaction and heavy compaction is its rammer weight are different, drop height are different, and the number of layer that we are giving is also different. So that's about light compaction and heavy compaction. Next, from these two tests, we will get a curve. This curve is known as compaction curve. This is the compaction curve. So our ultimate aim to conduct these two experiments is to draw this compaction curve. So look at this curve. In this curve, x-axis represent the moisture content and percentage. Y-axis represent the dry density in gram per cc or any other unit, adoptable unit. So x-axis moisture content and y-axis dry density. So we will get a curve like this. Look at this curve. The dry density is increasing up to a certain point. After that, the dry density is decreasing. So you have to, first of all, you have to select the peak point. So from this graph, you will get 2 values. Just extend a line to x-axis. It will meet at x-axis. That point is known as optimum moisture content. Just extend the line up to y-axis. That will give maximum dry density. So you will get 2 values. One is optimum moisture content and the one is maximum dry density. These are the 2 values that you will get from this graph. Next, coming to this line, a single line which drawn near to the compaction curve, that line is known as zero air void line. That line is known as zero air void line. So what is the specialty of zero air void line? You know, in the starting stages, the soil voids are escaping. While adding the water in the starting stages, the soil voids are from the soil, the voids are escaping. But after some time, after reaching optimum moisture content, after that point, the voids are not escaping from the solid. The voids are combined and with water and situating same there. So that's why we are obtaining this type of graph. So we are talking about the zero air void line. Zero air void line is the line corresponding to 100% of degree of saturation. Zero air void line is the line corresponding to 100% degree of saturation. Here the value S is equal to 100%. So from this, we are taking two values. We already, I already told you, we are taking the mass from the soil. So first of all, our aim is to determine rho d. That means our aim is to determine the dry density. Dry density is normally represented by rho d. So rho d is given by rho d is equal to rho by 1 plus W. So rho d, we have to determine rho d. For that, we have to determine rho. So how we will get rho? Rho is equal to mass per volume. From that, we will get rho value. So if you are substituting the rho value to rho d, we will get rho d is equal to rho by 1 plus W. So that about compaction curve. One more thing that you have to note, I already told you, from this curve we will get rho d. That means we will get the zero air void line. You have to study the equation for zero air void line. So rho d is rho d. Rho d is given by 1 minus Na g rho w by 1 plus Wg. That's the equation for calculating rho d. So from that, you will get the points for zero air void line. One more term you have to familiar, that is rho d max, theoretical maximum dry density. So what is theoretical maximum dry density? Theoretical maximum dry density is the dry density corresponding for zero air void line. Theoretical maximum dry density is the dry density corresponding for zero air void line. So these are the main features in a compaction curve. Now we are going to compare the compaction curve of heavy compaction and light compaction. Look at this figure. The upper part, that compaction curve is corresponding to high energy input, and lower one is corresponding to low energy input. So the upper one corresponding to high energy input, that I already told you, which is for high energy input, heavy compaction or light compaction? Heavy compaction. Because in the heavy compaction, we are giving 25 number of blows and 5 layers. Light compaction, we are giving 25 numbers for blows for 3 layers. So which will give more compactive effort? The heavy compaction. That's why this upper curve for more compactive energy and lower curve for lower compactive energy. From this, look at the first one, above one. Here, the first curve attain maximum dry density in a higher manner, and the lower one attain maximum dry density in a lower manner. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ഹെവി കോമ്പക്ഷൻ ആണ് ഏറ്റവും വലിയ മാക്സിമം ഡ്രൈ ഡെൻസിറ്റി അറ്റൈൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Then minimum value of dry density attain ചെയ്യുന്നത് light compaction ആണ്. So from this it is clear that for both compaction the curve is not same, curve may having some variation. Okay. Next, coming to the term relative compaction. So you have to know one thing, relative compaction. So what is meant by relative compaction? ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഈ എല്ലാ എക്സ്പെരിമെന്റ്സും എന്തിനാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ ഓൾറെഡി ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തതുപോലെ നമ്മളൊരു സൈറ്റ് സെലക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആ സൈറ്റിൽ നമ്മൾ എന്താ ചെയ്യാണ്, സോയിൽ എടുത്തു കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് ലബോറട്ടറിയിൽ ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാണ്. ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന നമ്മുടെ എയിം എന്താണ്? രണ്ട് കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കേണ്ടത്. ഒന്ന് എന്താണ്? മാക്സിമം ഡ്രൈ ഡെൻസിറ്റി, നെക്സ്റ്റ് വൺ ഒപ്റ്റിമം മോയ്സ്ചർ കണ്ടന്റ്. ജസ്റ്റ് സേ ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചപ്പോൾ സോയിലിന്റെ മാക്സിമം ഡ്രൈ ഡെൻസിറ്റി 1.6 gram/cc ആയിരുന്നു. നമ്മൾ ഫീൽഡിൽ അത് കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യണം, എന്നാലാണ് നമ്മുടെ സോയിൽ എന്താവുള്ളൂ, സ്റ്റേബിൾ ആവുള്ളൂ. ബട്ട് ഫീൽഡിൽ അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ പെർഫെക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ചെയ്യണം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആ 1.65 എന്നുള്ള വാല്യൂ നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യില്ല, അറ്റൈൻ ചെയ്യില്ല. So relative compaction is the ratio of dry density in the field to that of maximum dry density in the lab into 100. So you will get the relative compaction from this value. If the relative compaction is 100%, it will be very good. But normally 100% it is very difficult to attain. But if it is skilled labor and we are using proper equipment, you can attain 100% relative compaction. So next term is compaction control. So compaction control means, I already told we have to determine the dry density of the soil in the laboratory from the field. We have to determine the dry density. So once we determine the dry density and optimum moisture content from the lab, you have to apply these two values in the field. While applying, if it is not skilled labors, otherwise if it is not proper equipment, we will not get the value. So time by time you have to check the dry density and water content in the field too. So we know heavy compaction and light compaction is the method to determine the dry density in the laboratory. So our aim is to determine the dry density and water content in the field. So dry density we can determine in the field by using sand replacement and core cutter method. These two methods are field method. You know there are two methods, field method and laboratory method. Field method that we can do in the field. Here the field method is necessary. For determining the water content, we are normally adopting alcohol method, calcium chloride, calcium carbonate method. Next one is oven dried method. Everything you can apply in the laboratory. But to determine the water content in the field, we can use Porter needle method. So to determine the water content in the field, we are adopting Porter needle method. So look at this figure. This is the figure showing a Porter needle. Here you can see, first you can see a graduation and a sliding ring, a loading plunger and a needle shaft and a needle point. These are the parts of the Porter needle, and you will get different shape of a needle point. We are placing this instrument in the field and giving a certain amount of force over it. By this force from the loading plunge, there will be a mark. From this, you can read the resistive force. So resistance towards the penetration that we will get from the Porter needle. So you will get the resistive force from the test. Look at this curve. This curve is containing the details of Porter needle. You can see a dotted line. This dotted line is corresponding to calibration curve. So along with this, you can get a calibration curve. Here in this right, we mark as penetration resistance. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഫീൽഡിൽ നിന്ന് കിട്ടുന്ന വാല്യൂ പെനട്രേഷൻ റെസിസ്റ്റൻസ് ആയിരിക്കും. വൺസ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പെനട്രേഷൻ റെസിസ്റ്റൻസ് കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഈ ഗ്രാഫിൽ നിന്ന് by using this calibration curve, you can determine water content directly. So by using plot and aerial, you can determine the water content from the field. If you know this water content and dry density, you can easily verify whether it is correct or not. So these are all about the testing and all. Now we are going to discuss about the factors affecting compaction. So there are a lot of factors.
Ma'am, ഞാനൊന്ന് ഇന്ററപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തോട്ടെ? മാം, നമുക്കിപ്പോ ഇതുവരെ ചോദ്യങ്ങളൊന്നും ഇല്ല, കുട്ടികളെ ചോദ്യങ്ങളായിട്ടൊന്നും ചോദിച്ചിട്ടില്ല. So I would like to inform the participants that like if you have any queries, you can use the Q&A section which is available in the 3 dots button. Okay, so ചോദ്യങ്ങളോ ഡൗട്ട്സോ എന്തെങ്കിലും കമന്റ്സോ എന്തെങ്കിലും like you have any doubts which is to be asked in this topic, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിന് സ്റ്റുഡൻസിന് സ്ക്രീനിൽ കാണുന്ന 3 dots ബട്ടൺ യൂസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ റേസ് ചെയ്യാം. We will ask it to the faculty. Okay, so ma'am, ഇതുവരെ ചോദ്യങ്ങളൊന്നും റേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. So you can continue, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So we can directly move to factors affecting compaction. Coming to the factors affecting compaction, first factor is the moisture content. So before that, you have to know some basic terms. Here, this is the compaction curve. More than that, you can see 2 new terms. One is dry side of optimum or simply dry of optimum, then wet side of optimum or wet of optimum. So what these values? So you know this peak point, that dot point gives the maximum dry density and optimum moisture content. The left side of the optimum moisture content is known as dry side of optimum, and right side of the optimum moisture content is known as wet side of optimum. So by this water content, we are normally dividing this curve into 2, dry side of optimum and wet side of optimum. In the starting stages, if you are increasing the water content, the dry density is increasing up to optimum moisture content. If again you are raising the water content, the dry density is decreasing. So dry side, the dry density is increasing. Right side, that means wet side, the dry density is decreasing. This is because in the starting stages, if we are adding water to the soil, the force of attraction between the soil particle is heavy. So if you are giving the proper effort also, it will resist and it will stand together. So again, if you are adding the water content, the lubricant will increase and also the workability of the soil increases. That's why in the dry side, the dry density is increasing with the water content. But coming to the wet side, here all the voids are filled with water and air. I already told you, all the air from the soil are not escaping. Some amount of soil are still there in the voids. So in the wet side, the soil voids are filled with water and voids. That's why if we are again increasing the water content, there will not be any increase in dry density. So understood one thing, in the dry side, the dry density increase with moisture content, and the wet side, the dry density decrease with water content. One more thing, optimum moisture content is also known as OMC and optimum water content. So both term you can say in the textbook. So coming to type of soil is another important factor. Yes.
Ma'am, ഒരു ചോദ്യമുണ്ട്. Niti Krishna has asked, like, what is the weight of soil sample required for performing modified Proctor test? What is the weight of soil sample required for performing modified Proctor test? Niti Krishna has asked.
Okay, good question. For modified Porter test and standard Porter test, both these tests are doing in a single mode. So the amount of weight of soil is 3 kg. It must be passed through 4.75 mm. Normally we are taking 3 kg of soil. Any other inquiry?
Okay. No, ma'am. As of now, no. So we can continue.
Okay, thank you. Next thing is a type of soil. So next important factor is type of soil. The dry density is varying with the type of soil. As you know, there are two types of soil, fine grained soil and coarse grained soil. So the coarse grained soil will attain maximum dry density faster than fine grained soil. If you are adding certain amount of fine grained soil to the coarse grained soil, again it will attain higher maximum dry density. So coarse grained soil will attain higher dry density compared to the fine grained soil. Then compared to well graded and poorly graded soil. You know, cohesionless soil are normally divided into different category among well graded and poorly graded soil are there. Whereas well graded soil, it will attain a higher amount of maximum dry density than that of poorly graded soil. So, depending upon the soil type, the compaction effort, depending upon the soil type and compaction effort, the maximum dry density will vary. Look at this curve and this one showing the well-graded sand, 2 showing the low plasticity silt, and 3 showing the low plasticity clay, and 4 showing the high plasticity clay. So the type of soil are different. According to this, the compaction curve also different. Just consider one, that means well-graded sand. It attains maximum dry density and a higher value. So this one is at a maximum dry density for the higher value and lower optimum moisture content. As like 4, that corresponding to high plasticity clay attain minimum maximum dry density and maximum optimum moisture content. So in the below chart showing the value of OMC, so that we already discussed. Next one is compactive effort. Compactive effort or compactive energy is also another factor which helps to increase the compaction. So if it is heavy compaction, we are giving high effort. We already discussed 5 layer, 25 blows. We are giving high effort. So the obtained maximum dry density is higher. If we are considering the light compaction, the effort applied is less. So we are getting lower value than heavy compaction. So from that, we can conclude that the compactive effort having more important role in the compaction. Next one is speed of rolling. So in the test, we are using the rammer, but in the field, we can't use the rammer for the compaction. In the field, normally we are using rollers and large vehicles, vibration method, a lot of method are using in the field. So the speed of rolling is one of the factor, because if we are slowly applying a roller over the soil, the attained compaction will be less. So maximum dry density will be less. If we are applying the rolling in a fast manner, if the number of rolling is high, then the attained maximum dry density will be high. Next, coming to contact pressure. Contact pressure is the pressure between the soil and the wheel of the equipment used for compaction. This contact pressure is mainly depends upon the weight of the vehicle that we are using, or weight of the total vehicle and tire altogether what we are using. So if the weight and all are high, then the contact pressure also will be high. If the contact pressure is high, then the dry density also will be high. Next, number of roller pass. We already discussed. If the rolling pass increases, the density also will increase and it will attain maximum dry density in an easy manner. Next factor is layer thickness. So we know if we are considering a thin layer of soil, we are giving a certain force, the thin layer will easily attain the maximum dry density. If we are applying a thick layer, if we are treating a thick layer, if we are using the same compactive effort, then the attain maximum dry density will be so. So to attain proper compaction for the thick layer, we have to apply more force to the soil. So the thickness of the layer and its dry density depends upon a lot of factors. One is type of soil, type of roller, weight of roller, and contact pressure of the drum. Depending upon all this value, the thickness of the dry density will vary. Next one, effect of compaction on soil property. We just discussed about the factors affecting compaction. Now, effect of compaction. You just imagine, നമ്മൾ എന്താണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, ഒരു ഹെവി ഫോഴ്സ് ആണ് കൊടുക്കുന്നത് സോയിലോട്ട്. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഹെവി ഫോഴ്സ് ഒരു സോയിലോട്ട് ഒരു മെറ്റീരിയലോട്ട് കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതിന്റെ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി എന്താവും, ചേഞ്ച് ആവും അല്ലെ. അതിന് കുറെ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടികൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യും. അപ്പോ നമ്മൾ ആ ഒരു പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി ചേഞ്ച് ആണ് നോക്കാനായിട്ട് പോകുന്നത്. സോ എഫക്ട് ഓഫ് കോമ്പാക്ഷൻ ഓൺ സോയിൽ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി. ഫസ്റ്റ് വൺ ഈസ് സോയിൽ സ്ട്രക്ചർ. Before that, you have to know a basic idea about the soil structure. Just look at here. Normally, here we are going to discuss about flocculated structure and dispersed structure. So honeycomb structure, as like a lot of soil structure is there. First of all, flocculated structure. Just consider a cross section. Here, the flocculated structure means the minerals will pack like this. This structure, one end is known as tail end and another end is known as head. One tail of one well attached to the, I will explain. So here, the soil structure having an important role. Normally, two type of structure, flocculated structure and dispersed structure. Flocculated structure mean, look at this figure. Here it is clear that one end of the tail of the soil is attached to one end of its head, as like an arrangement is here. But in dispersed structure, all the grains are parallelly arranged. So, ഫ്ലോക്കുലേറ്റഡ് സ്ട്രക്ചറിൽ ഒരു ടെയിൽ എൻഡും ഉണ്ട്, ഹെഡ് എൻഡും ഉണ്ട്. അത് തമ്മിൽ അങ്ങനെ കണക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള അറേഞ്ച്മെന്റ് ആണ്. ഡിസ്പേഴ്സ്ഡ് ആണെങ്കിൽ അത് പാരലലി അറേഞ്ച്ഡ് ആണ്. സോ കൺസിഡർ ലെഫ്റ്റ് സൈഡ്. Left side of the curve is known as dry of optimum. So just consider dry of optimum. Here the structure is flocculated. So if you are compacting the soil, if you are increasing the compaction energy, the soil structure will be turned to dispersed structure. So starting of the compacting soil is flocculated structure. After that, it will turn to dispersed structure. So one thing you have to know, why this variation is happening. Because here, in the starting stage, the soil having higher attractive force between them. All the soil are attracted together. If you are giving compactive force over that, it will not change easily. But after that, if you are adding water and giving more compactive energy, it will change its structure and it will turn to dispersed structure. So left of optimum, flocculated structure, and right of optimum, dispersed structure.
Ma'am,
Next,
hello.
Coming to permeability. Hello.
മാം, ഒരു കമന്റ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞ സ്ലൈഡിലെ ഫിഗർ ക്ലിയർ ആയിരുന്നില്ല എന്ന്. മാം ഒന്ന് ഫിഗർ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യും ഒന്നും കൂടെ, എക്സ് ആക്സിസ് വൈ ആക്സിസ് എന്തൊക്കെയാണ്, ജസ്റ്റ് ബ്രീഫ് ആയിട്ട്.
ഏതാണ്? ഇതാണോ
ഈ ഫിഗർ സ്ട്രക്ചർ ഓഫ് കോമ്പാക്റ്റഡ് ക്ലേ ഫിഗർ ഒന്ന് ജസ്റ്റ് കുട്ടികൾക്ക് അറിയാൻ വേണ്ടി ഒന്ന് ബ്രീഫ് ആയിട്ട് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യും. എക്സും വൈ ആക്സിസ് എന്താ കോമ്പണൻസ്. താങ്ക് യു.
ഓക്കെ, ഇതില് നിങ്ങൾ ജസ്റ്റ് നോക്കൂ, ഇതിൽ എന്താണ്? എക്സ് ആക്സിസിലെ വാട്ടർ കണ്ടന്റ് ആണ്, വൈ ആക്സിസിലെ ഡ്രൈ യൂണിഫൈ. അതായത് ഈ കാണിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന രണ്ട് കർവുകളും എന്തിന്റെ തന്നെയാണ്? കോമ്പാക്ഷൻ കർവാണ്. മുകളില് ഗ്രീൻ കളറിൽ കാണിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന കർവ് ഹെവി കോമ്പാക്ഷന്റെയും റോസ് കളറിൽ കാണിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന കർവ് ലൈറ്റ് കോമ്പാക്ഷന്റെ ആണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇത് രണ്ടും കോമ്പാക്ഷൻ കർവ് തന്നെയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇതിൽ നിന്ന് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കേണ്ട കാര്യം, ലെഫ്റ്റ് സൈഡ് നോക്കൂ, അവിടെ ഒരു സോയിൽ സ്ട്രക്ചർ കണ്ടില്ലേ? അതെങ്ങനെയാണ് ആ സോയിലിന്റെ സ്ട്രക്ചർ? അത് അങ്ങോട്ടും ഇങ്ങോട്ടും കണക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ്. അതായത് ഒരെണ്ണത്തിന്റെ ഹെഡ് എൻഡ് അടുത്തതിന്റെ ടെയിൽ എൻഡ് ആയിട്ട് കണക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളതാണ്. ഈ സ്ട്രക്ചറിന് പറയുന്ന പേരാണ് ഫ്ലോക്കുലേറ്റഡ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ. ദിസ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ ഈസ് നോൺ ആസ് ഫ്ലോക്കുലേറ്റഡ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ. അത് സോയിൽ സ്ട്രക്ചേഴ്സ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് നമുക്കൊരു ടോപ്പിക് ഉണ്ട്. അതിൽ നമ്മൾ ഡിഫറെന്റ് ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് സോയിൽ സ്ട്രക്ചർ പഠിക്കും. അപ്പോൾ ദിസ് ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് സോയിൽ ആസ് ദ ഫ്ലോക്കുലേറ്റഡ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ. സോ നമ്മൾ കോമ്പാക്ഷൻ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് ദിസ് വിൽ ബി ഫ്ലോക്കുലേറ്റഡ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ. അഗെയിൻ ഇഫ് യു ആർ ഗിവിംഗ് ദ കോമ്പാക്റ്റർ ഫോഴ്സ്, പിന്നെ നമ്മൾ എന്താണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? ഈ സോയിലിനെ കോമ്പാക്ട് ചെയ്യാണ്, ഒരു ടാമ്പർ വെച്ചിട്ട് കോമ്പാക്ട് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. സോ ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ടേൺ ടു ഡിസ്പേഴ്സ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ. അപ്പൊ സോയിലിന്റെ സ്ട്രക്ചർ തന്നെ മാറും. അത് എന്തായി മാറും? ഡിസ്പേഴ്സ്ഡ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ ആയിട്ട് മാറും. സോ ദിസ് ഡിസ്പേഴ്സ്ഡ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ മീൻസ് ഇറ്റ് വിൽ അറേഞ്ച് ഇൻ എ പാരലൽ മാനർ. ഒന്ന് ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചു നോക്കൂ, അവിടെ എന്താണ് സംഭവിക്കുന്നത്? അതിലെ ആ ഒരു സ്ട്രക്ചർ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? മാറാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, സോ ദ സ്ട്രക്ചർ ഇസ് ചേഞ്ചിങ്. So that's about that slide. Is it clear? Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can continue.
Okay. So next coming to permeability. So permeability means you may study it in module 4. So what is permeability? Permeability is the easiness by which water can penetrate through the soil. So you have to remember that compaction curve. Then only you will get this idea. The left side of the compaction curve is known as dry of optimum, and the right side of the compaction curve is known as wet of optimum. So coming to this permeability, the water content increases, the permeability will also increases up to a certain point, up to OMC it will happen. After that, increasing water content may not that much affect on permeability. So you have to note one thing: the minimum permeability value is slightly after the optimum moisture content. So the thing is, water content and compaction also having a certain role in leading the permeability. Next, coming to pore water pressure. Pore water pressure developed for the soil compacted dry of optimum is less than the soil compacted on wet of optimum. So pore water pressure developed will be high in wet of optimum. Wet of optimum means right side of the curve. So all these properties are different for left side of the curve and right side of the curve. Next, coming to strain gauge. Considering the strain gauge, the left of optimum, that means dry side, will offer more resistance. So the strain gauge will be less there. The wet of optimum will offer less resistance. Therefore, the strain gauge will be higher there. Next one is compressibility. So as already told, the left side of the curve is flocculated structure. It will offer higher resistance. So the compressibility is less at lower stress in dry of optimum, and compressibility is higher for wet of optimum. Next, coming to shear strength. Soil compacted dry of optimum have a higher shear strength than the water of optimum at lower strain. So the shear strength also will vary depending upon the compaction. Coming to swelling. Swelling means in the left side of optimum, that means in dry of optimum, the amount of water entering to the soil is very high. the swelling will be high at dry of optimum. In wet of optimum, the water entering to the soil structure is less. So swelling is less in dry of optimum, wet of optimum. Then regarding to shear strength relationship, first curve is for dry of optimum side, and below the second curve is for wet of optimum side. Dry of optimum curve that will give a steeper curve for the stress strain relationship. So after going through this, you can shortly conclude it and easily identify the changes. After that, you just go through it. Next, we can discuss some numerical problem related to this session.
Ma'am, നമുക്കിനി ഒരു 15 മിനിറ്റ് കൂടെ ഉണ്ടാവും.
Okay.
We have 15 more minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So we can come to this numerical problem. So first thing, the following result were obtained from a standard compaction test on a sample of soil. The volume of the mold used was 950 ml. Make necessary calculation and plot the compaction curve to obtain maximum dry density and optimum water content. Also calculate the void ratio, the degree of saturation, and theoretical maximum dry density. Water content is given in the soil and mass of wet soil also given in the soil. Water content is given in percentage, mass of wet soil is given in kilogram. So here you have to draw the compaction curve and you have to calculate void ratio, degree of saturation, and theoretical maximum dry density. This is the problem. So the given data, weight of the wet soil is given, water content is given, volume of the mold in ml is given, specific gravity of the soil G is given. G is equal to 2.70 is given. So here our ultimate aim is to determine the dry density. What is the formula for dry density? Dry density rho D is given by rho by 1 plus W. What is rho? Rho is the bulk density. How can we determine the bulk density rho? Rho can be determined by rho is equal to mass per volume. So, first of all, you have to formulate this table. Here, water content that you have to mark that given in the percentage. So you can make it as 12%, 14% itself. Otherwise, you can go for 0.14, 0.1214 as like. So water content is given in the question that you have to write here. Mass of wet soil is given in the question. So you can enter the mass of wet soil. Then bulk density that we have to calculate. So what is the equation for bulk density? Bulk density rho is equal to mass per volume. So bulk density, the value, first value rho is equal to mass per volume. Here what is the mass of the first soil? That's 1.68. What is the volume? Volume is given in the question as 950 ml. Here we are using the unit gram per ml. So we have to convert the kilogram to gram into 1000. So 1.68 into 1000 divided by volume 950. So you will get 1.77. Okay. Our aim is to determine the dry density. So rho D. Rho D is equal to rho by 1 plus W. So rho D, we already determined rho. For the first case, what is the value of rho? Rho is 1.77. So rho D is equal to 1.77 by 1 plus the water content 0.12. As like you have to determine the rho D for all this session. So we can see for different values we are marked it in different colors. So from this we will get the water content and dry density. What are the main thing we needed for to draw the compaction curve? In the x-axis we need the water content. In the y-axis we need the dry density. So look at here. Here x-axis we mark the water content and y-axis we mark the dry density. We got different points from the calculation. Mark all these points and draw a smooth curve. The orange will give when the smooth curve. After that, select the maximum point. Again, the maximum point select x-axis extend. So that will give the maximum water content. And extend up to the y-axis, that will give the maximum dry density. So here the maximum water content is 15.2% and maximum dry density is 1.74 gram per ml. So that are the thing. So compaction curve and maximum dry density determination is over. Next, you have to determine the void ratio. In the first module, you studied about the basic relation. You may familiar with the relation. Rho D is equal to G rho W by 1 plus E. I will repeat. Rho D is equal to G rho W by 1 plus E, where E is the void ratio, G is the specific gravity, rho W is the water content, rho W is the density of water. So rearranging the equation, you can form this equation. Void ratio E is equal to G rho W by rho D minus 1. Substitute the given values in the equation, you will get the corresponding void ratio for all the conditions. Below that, degree of saturation. Degree of saturation, you may know the relation E is equal to Wg by S. From that, you can formulate the relation for S. S is equal to Gw by E. Variables substitute. So you will get the degree of saturation. Next one is theoretical maximum dry density. So for the same, you may know the relation equation for theoretical maximum dry density. Just substitute and you will get the final values. So that's all about this problem. We can move to one more problem. The maximum dry density of a sample by the light compaction test is 1.78 gram per ml at an optimum water content of 15%. Find the air void and the degree of saturation. G is equal to 2.67. What would be the corresponding value of dry density on the zero air void line at OWC, optimum water content? So, first of all, here you have to determine the degree of saturation S. So, you have to select this formula. Rho D is equal to G rho W by 1 plus E. Or we selected the equation, rho D is equal to G rho W by 1 plus E. You know E is equal to Wg by S. So, substitute the relation. In the second step, rho D is equal to G rho W by 1 plus Gw by S. So, here we know the value of G, W and S. Here the G is 2.67. Water content is 15%. That means 15 by 100. 15%, don't directly take it to 15 by 100. So it is 0.15 divided by S. Rearranging this and you will get S is equal to 0.801 or S is equal to 80.1%. So obtain degree of saturation S is equal to 80.1%. So that part is over. Next, we have to determine the air voids. So do you remember this equation? Rho D is equal to 1 minus NA rho W by 1 plus slide change ആവുന്നില്ലേ?
കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല മാം. ഇപ്പൊ രണ്ടാമത്തെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ് മാക്സിമം ഡ്രൈ ഡെൻസിറ്റി. ഒന്ന്
Okay,
ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യൂ.
equation for zero air void line is visible.
സൊല്യൂഷൻ എന്നുള്ള പേജിലാണ് കിടക്കുന്നത്. ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ വിത്ത് സൊല്യൂഷൻ ഒന്ന് ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യൂ.
Okay. I think screen display.
സ്ലൈഡ് ഇപ്പോ ചേഞ്ച് ആയിട്ടില്ല.
One more slide is there, so what will?
Okay.
മാം ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ഷെയറിംഗ് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് ഒന്നുകൂടി ഒന്ന് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാമോ? അഞ്ജു മാം കേൾക്കാമോ?
Yeah, doing. That is visible to me. എനിക്ക് കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ട് ലാപ്പില്, ബട്ട്
അതാ മാം ഇവിടെ സ്ലൈഡ് മാറിയിട്ടില്ല. ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ഷെയറിംഗ് കൊടുക്കാമോ മാം? മാം ഇനി ഒന്ന് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യാമോ?
ഓക്കെ. ഞാൻ ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. വിസിബിൾ ആണോ?
ഇല്ല മാം, ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ഷെയറിംഗ് കൊടുക്കാമോ? സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ഷെയറിംഗ്.
സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ഷെയറിംഗ് എവിടെയായിട്ടാണ് വരുന്നത്?
മുകളിൽ മാം, സ്ക്രീനിന്റെ മുകളിൽ.
ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല.
മാം ആ സ്ക്രീൻ ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് കർസർ ഒന്ന് മുകളിലേക്ക് മൂവ് ചെയ്യാമോ? സ്ക്രീനിന്റെ മുകളിലേക്ക്. മുകളിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരു ഡ്രോപ്പ് ഡൗൺ പോലെ വരും.
ഫയൽ എഡിറ്റ് ഷെയർ വ്യൂ അങ്ങനെയാണ്.
അവിടെയല്ല മാം, ജസ്റ്റ് കർസർ മൂവ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ മുകളിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരു ഡ്രോപ്പ് ഡൗൺ പോലെ വരും. സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ഷെയറിംഗ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഒരു ഓറഞ്ച് കളറിൽ ഒരു ടാബ് വരും. മാം ജസ്റ്റ് എന്നാ PPT ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് ക്ലോസ് ചെയ്യാമോ മാം? ആ PPT ഒന്ന് ക്ലോസ് ചെയ്യാമോ?
PPT ഓപ്ഷൻസ് വിസിബിൾ ആവണില്ല, അതുകൊണ്ട്.
ഓക്കെ മാം, നമ്മൾക്ക് ഈ അനുവദിച്ച സമയം ഏകദേശമായി തീർന്നു. നമുക്ക് 1-2 ചോദ്യങ്ങളുണ്ട്, അതിലോട്ട് പോയാലോ?
ശരി, അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യാം.
മാം, അമൽ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു സ്റ്റുഡന്റിന്റെ ചോദ്യമാണ്. Is there any change in curve for cohesionless sand? Cohesionless sandന്റെ കർവിന് എന്തെങ്കിലും ചേഞ്ച് ഉണ്ടോ? Is there any change in the curve for cohesionless sand? ഒരു ചോദ്യം കൂടെ ഉണ്ട്, അമൽ തന്നെയാണ്. ഈ സ്ട്രക്ചർ വേരിയേഷൻ is different for coarse grade and fine grained structure.
Okay. അപ്പോൾ ഫസ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, is there any change for the curve for cohesionless soil? So you know there are two types of soil, cohesive soil and cohesionless soil. This old description is corresponding to cohesive soil, that means laterite clay type soil. So cohesionless soil, that we have to come to sand. For the sand, compaction curve is entirely different. So that is not like this curve. We can say an up and down curve in different case. So cohesionless soil, same curve, it is entirely different. So we are not that much bothered about the compaction test on cohesionless soil. നമ്മൾ cohesionless soil ഈ compaction testകൾ adopt ചെയ്യാറില്ല. So this is for cohesive soil. That's the answer for your first question. Then next question, fine grain and coarse grain soil ഈ ഷേപ്പിൽ ഡിഫറൻസ് ഉണ്ടോ എന്നാണ്. യെസ്, ഡിപ്പെൻഡിങ് അപ്പോൺ ദ പാർട്ടിക്കിൾ സൈസ്. യു നോ ദ ഫൈൻ ഗ്രെയിൻ സോയിൽ, ഫോർ ദ ഫൈൻ ഗ്രെയിൻ സോയിൽ ആൻഡ് കോഴ്സ് ഗ്രെയിൻ സോയിൽ the structure is entirely different. So for both this, there is a variation in the structure depending upon its own structure. Fine grain structure അനുസരിച്ചിട്ട് അതിന്റെ സ്ട്രക്ചറിൽ വേരിയേഷൻ ഉണ്ടാവും, കോഴ്സ് ഗ്രെയിൻ്റെ സ്ട്രക്ചർ അനുസരിച്ചിട്ട് അതിന്റെ സ്ട്രക്ചറിലും വേരിയേഷൻസ് ഉണ്ടാവും. So ultimately all this all will affect on the compactive effort and the moisture content. So hope it is
Thank you,
clear.
ma'am. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And with that, we have reached the end of the session. Ma'am, എന്തെങ്കിലും ആഡ് ചെയ്യാനുണ്ടോ?
No, hope all are clear. So I would like to thank all of you for your patient listening, and also I would like to express my sincere thank to SF and the organizing, the supporting team. Thank you.